first commentary style video, and if you like this kind of video, make sure to leave a comment and maybe just like the video. Don't subscribe unless you really want to see this. Let's get started about one of my favorite VR games of all time, The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners. This is one of my most favorite games on VR and is probably one of the most underrated games, especially for VR, of all time. Why is that, you may ask? Well, why do I think this is more underrated than other games? I think so because this is around an estimated amount of copies sold on PC is only 500,000 to 700,000. Well, that's pretty bad, but surprisingly, Saints and Sinners is optimized for quests, and Skydance says they sold around 10 times more on the Quest than they did on the PC. I'm not sure why that is. I feel like you'd buy PC if anything. Doing some real basic math, you can see that the total comes out to 5 million, 7 million copies sold, which isn't that bad, but for a game that's good, it's really not the best. Then again, they had a small team and everything, so I imagine that it would be pretty cost friendly. Why would this be the case? Why? Why do I say it's a good game, and why do I think that the game is underrated? Well, maybe because the price is off-putting. The game's $40 on Quest and Steam, and if you want a special edition called the Tourist Edition, where you just get like a couple items and stuff, it's 10 extra bucks. This will definitely make budget gamers like me a little bit pay extra $20 on what they would like really think the ideal cost would be. Like I at most would probably spend $20 per game. Other than that, I don't feel like I should pay anything past that point. But I do. So yeah, it might make budget gamers stray away from ever buying the game. And the game is also not the longest game I've ever played, 10 to 14 hours depending on side quests. It's not that good, but again, they had really small production team, and I think that they did the best that they could with the small team that they had. And again, it does take a while to make a game, and 10 to 14 hours isn't that bad. It's also really important in the game to learn a lot of skills that you don't really learn in the tutorial. So yeah, you have to kind of play after the game to really get good at it, and then kind of replay the story, and then use all your skills that you've built up. I know this. I've played for around 40 or so hours, and there are a lot of tricks that I know that I definitely did not know when I completed the story. But let's stop with the negatives. Let's not dog on this game. Alright, let's uplift it a little bit. There are a lot of positives. Let's start with the physics engine and the physics themselves. These are some things that VR players just consider important. The physics engine itself is Unreal Engine, specifically Unreal Engine 4. And the physics themselves are incredibly realistic, as the description of the Steam page says. Each weapon and some normal objects have multiple gripping points that allow you to attack walkers however you want. There's also an extensive point of immersion. I feel like that is, at least. Depends on the person. You can also use obviously like clocks or boards to kill walkers, which is interesting. Not many say games will have that kind of mechanism in them. Like, you want to blow a walker up for some weird reason? You can do that. You want to stick a lighter through a walker's ear for some reason? You can do that. There are an insane amount of ways to inflict harm on your enemies, which is nice because then you'll almost never get bored of killing them. Objects also have realistic weight and require some strength to be effective. Knives will get stuck in the head and you'd have to physically pull them out. Like, you have to use some force for that. And you have to use a lot of strength for blunt weapons. And blunt weapons are really nice because they actually make stuff visually change. Like, the head will look like it visually just got caved in, which is kind of weird, but it's nice. I like it. It's something realistic. How would I know what it looks like? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Nah, I'm just joking with you. Anyway, you also have stamina, which is nice, so that you can't just like stab. You can't just do that in real life. You can't just swing around a bat a couple times and just keep doing it over and over. That'd be really tiring, unless you trained for some weird reason. Let's talk about Visuals. Visuals do vary on Quest and PC, so just be aware of that. I'd recommend that you buy the PC if you're looking for visuals. Quest if you're looking just because you want a standalone and that's the only thing you have and your computer cannot run it. I'm also saying that you really need a good PC for this game. I don't really have a PC that could do that, so yeah. It's pretty good on Quest. The optimizations let most of the visuals stay in, but take out the little extra details that you would see on PC. Like, let's say, glistening of the walker's mouth, and the blood that you get on your hands after you kind of stab something. I do understand that this sounds really weird, and I sound like a little maniac, but trust me, if you ever decide to play this game, or you have played this game, you will know that killing something is kind of like the point of the game. Not really a point, more like it's an essential point of the game, if you get what I'm saying. So let's get back to it anyway. There are some times where optimizations can lead to some areas being weird, like white or black, or just being blank, for around half a second until you enter it, which isn't that bad, but it can get annoying, and sometimes if you back up too far and the view distance is not right, the NPCs, they'll just disappear. PC graphics, on the other hand, look amazing, and there's so many small details that I do not see on Quest. It's kind of disappointing, but I get it because it's Quest. You can't have everything. It's non-existent for like almost everything. Some items you can't really read everything, and it's strange. And PC, everything is definitely a lot smoother. The hair on walkers moves. Maps are generally a little bit larger. One map is. I think that's only one map, though. And there are a lot more small details, like more variations and NPCs and stuff. And now, to the story. This is going to take a little bit, and it's going to take a chunk out of this time of the video. But the story is basically this in a nutshell. Your character that you play is known as the tourist. You're traveling to New Orleans, or NOLA, in Louisiana. And for unknown reasons, we don't know why. We never get to know why. Maybe in the other game we will. You meet an old man named Henri, who doesn't live very long after you meet him, as a skirmish breaks out in his graveyard, aka his home. He is defeated, and he's hung outside on a tree. Poor man, he can't catch a break. We meet him, we ask him some questions, we don't really learn anything, which is unfortunate. He just tells us to split it between a woman, which I'll talk about later, but you may ask, who would kill a poor old man? Well, it was just two clashing factions inside New Orleans. The Tower and the Reclaimed. The Tower is larger, and the Reclaimed is smaller. These guys clash for control over NOLA, and they both want it, so yeah. But why would they do it? As previously mentioned, they're both clashing for control over New Orleans, which is kind of weird, because it's a zombie apocalypse. I would imagine you'd all gang up against them, but hey, whatever, they do their own thing. Why would they do it? Because Henri knew a lot about the bunker. What's the bunker, you may ask? The bunker, aka the reserve, is a military bunker that was used for disaster relief supplies, and it said to have immense fortune such as weapons, food, and other supplies, and it said that it has so much power within it that it could change the power balance in NOLA. One side would get it, they could absolutely crush the other side. Vice versa, too. And Henri knew a lot about it, so they just kind of wanted him gone. He also had a connection to a woman called May. May is an important role in the story, as we have to do quests for her to get intel for a group that she leads called the Exiles. The Exiles, they're people who have been exiled by the Tower, aka they were forced to leave. They're gone. They just got skedoodled. And yes, they don't want to go to the Reclaimed, so they go to her for supplies and all that stuff. So, yeah. We also meet a man on the radio called Casey, who's trapped inside the flooding bunker, and we have to retrieve pumps for him, and like water pumps, to move the water away from him. But unfortunately, when we install all the pumps, beacons light up, and the reclaimed and the tower go for it. They go for it. They want it. There's a full-out battle. The battle of the reserve will start. You get there and you decide to infiltrate the reserve through a little side area. I won't really disclose all that much, just so that doesn't ruin too much. And you make a choice. Since the floodwater must be directed to a room, you can either direct it to Casey's room and kill him, get the weapons, or vice versa. Or what you can do is you can flood everything so that the power balance in NOLA stays the same. And then after this story ends, Aftershocks starts with like a little DLC expansion free that you can get. We learn of a mysterious man called the Axeman, who's kind of based after the actual 1989 Axeman, except for not really looks, it's just the same name. He also hates the tourist for what we've done. That's right, what we've done. We're really good at this. And how the things that we've done cannot be mended. That basically concludes what we know of so far. There are a couple trailers for the second game that we learn about how Mama, who is the leader of the faction, the tower, which I didn't really, I didn't really introduce because I feel like it would take a lot of time. This video is probably already a little bit longer than I wanted to, and it's probably a little bit messy. But I don't really care. I wrote a whole entire script for this and everything, and I totally didn't follow it. Yes. In some of the trailers, we see the Axeman. He wears a big thing of armor. It said that bullets will bounce right off it. Doesn't matter what, doesn't matter who. It's very hard to kill him. Some of the game trailers look incredibly cool. It's The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution. I won't get into too much details. It's, first of all, not out yet, and two, it could contain major spoilers. Mine has only minor spoilers because I didn't go into too much depth. But, yeah, that's basically everything that I have. So, that ends my video, and it ends the game's story. So I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys ignore my weird gameplay here. But yeah, goodbye.